What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Sound cut off there? Yeah, I mistimed that intro song. I had to use that one. That was the OG intro song from when the channel first started. I thought it would be appropriate because that was kind of what really started this channel, was me doing check ride prep stuff and tutorials back, I don't know, 3-4 years ago now. Probably 3 years ago now, I think. So, maybe more than 3 years ago, because my little girl's almost 3. Wow, has it been 4 years? Wow. Anyway, shout out Jeremy Harvard for that music. What is up, everybody? Yes, we are in fact back in the XPlane 11 flight simulator. I apologize if it gives you a headache looking at the visuals. I'm right there beside you. I've got my Advil ready to go. However, since I just took a shot for the visuals at XPlane 11, I must say this, and I tried to do today's stream in Microsoft because I loaded up XPlane. I didn't like what I saw, so I tried to do it in Microsoft. But there's one thing that I cannot deny, and I will not deny it. The XPlane flight handling characteristics, especially on the Toliss Airbus here, are vastly superior when it comes to abnormal operation of the aircraft. I could barely do a V1 cut in the Phoenix and maintain centerline. So I think that has to do with that rudder issue on the ground and the nose wheel being on the ground and all that stuff. The Toliss handles, the flight modeling of the Toliss is almost, honestly, it feels as good as the Level D sim that I go fly, which I'll be flying the Level D sim here on Wednesday, Thursday, I believe I'm in the sim. I got ground school, actually no, ground school Tuesday, yeah, Wednesday, Thursday in the sim. So, I cannot deny that. So we are in the Toliss. We're going to be doing a couple of different things today. Today's not just your traditional A to B stream. We're going to be shutting engines down. We're going to be setting engines on fire. We're going to be doing rejected takeoffs. And it's not the traditional A to B. So we're going to start with a preliminary cockpit flow, just go over some of our basic checks. We'll just put a bogus flight plan in the box. We're going to fire it up, push back. We're going to taxi out, make sure we get all of our standard calls, everything's standardized again, and no simisms. We're going to do flex takeoff. The first takeoff, we'll do an RTO. This is the plan. We're going to do an RTO, reset. We're going to take off again. We're going to go do some maneuvers. We'll do some flight control. We'll do some, I don't know if we'll get into stalls. We'll do some steep turns. Then we're going to do some abnormal attitude flying, or some what am I trying to say? Alternate law flying. Then we'll go, maybe even go into direct law. We'll reset the airplane then. We're going to do a... what are we going to do? We're going to do a CFIT recovery, so I'm going to intentionally try to fly the airplane towards the ground, and then we're going to do a JipWiz memory items. We talked about eJipWiz and JipWiz and all that stuff, so you're going to see that go to work today. We're going to do that in flight, and then after that is all done, we'll reset yet again. The Toliss makes it super, super easy to load selected and save situations, so I have all these situations saved up here, ready to go. This is what makes this aircraft of the Toliss the optimum and premium study tool when you're going to be studying an aircraft, whether you're going in for recurrent simulator training or you're getting typed on the airplane for the first time. I still stand by the fact that the Toliss, the way they allow everything to just be saved and reset and all that stuff, is just, it's so user friendly, and it is the way to go. After we finish all the normal airwork stuff, which I'm hoping we'll get down in about an hour of that stuff, then we're going to do some single engine work. We're going to reset on the runway. We're going to do a V1 cut, which is the worst scenario, basically losing an engine at V1 and continuing the takeoff. We'll speed up, we'll clean up, we'll fly the profile, but then I'm going to reset. I'm not going to land off of that one. We're going to reset again, and then we're going to do the engine fire after V1. So that one's even more hectic. We're sitting in Las Vegas, Nevada, high altitude, high temperature. I got the sun kind of setting with X-Enviro to make it look a little bit better. And what we're going to do is we'll do an engine fire shortly after V1, and then we'll have to fly the airplane, put out the fire, get set up, and we'll come back around for a hand-flown and single-engine approach. By that time, it should be dark. Should be a lot of fun. So that's what we have on the slate today. Now, for this stream, I have it members only in chat, just because I'm going to be very heads down doing stuff here in the airplane, and it's going to be a little bit more task saturated for me. So I appreciate all my members. Thank you for supporting the channel. And of course, I hope you guys enjoyed those little shorts videos I've been putting out. Just got back from a trip yesterday. Been a lot of fun. So now we're going to put our nose to the grindstone and go to work. Quick shout out, Dimitri. Good to see you, my friend. Cactus Love indeed. Geo, what's going on, man? 30 months. Hold on, Captain. This is an XPlane. This is XPlane, man. It is, Captain Geo. It is XPlane, believe it or not. Callum, what's up? Good to see you, man. David of Relic Chaos, good to see you. Mr. Martini, Key 6 Juan Andres Pinella, good to see you, sir. Sim Aviator, Good to see you stopping by the chat as well, my friend. Yes, I am in your favorite sim, my friend. Your favorite sim, XPlane 11. I gotta say, though, how about those IE engines, huh? How about those IE engines? That is what a proper Airbus engine looks like. I cannot wait until we get IE engines in the Phoenix, although I don't even know if the Phoenix IEs can be as good as those. Look at those. Look at these engines, guys. Ooh, that's the X-Enviro Sun trying to be over dramatic, doing its thing. But Carter Joel engine mod saved this this airplane for sure. So, okay, yeah, it is the Carter mod indeed, Niels. It is the Carter mod indeed. We are running X-Enviro, max graphics, Flight Tampa Vegas, and I still feel like I'm back in 2008 flying around. But as many digs as I like to take at X-Plane 11, I cannot deny, it's undeniable that in abnormal operations, the Toliss flies like almost identical to the real sim. Now, even the real sim, the level D sim, doesn't fly exactly like the airplane, but it's very, very close. Obviously, it's what we use it for training. The Toliss feels exactly like the level D sim. We'll get into that later on. It's super dark. I don't know how to fix it. It's X-Plane. Just we'll have to deal with it here. Let's go ahead and fire up the airplane. Preliminary cockpit flow from the top. Here we go. This is check ride prep stream 1 of 2. Let's get it done. So starting engine master 1 and 2 off. Engine start selector is in the middle position. Radar is off. PWS is off, and the knobs are set as required. Landing gear lever is in the down position. Up to the overhead, checking the windshield wipers there, both off. Battery 25.6 volts or greater there, both greater than that. Battery 1, battery 2. At this point, we can do one of two things. We can either get the Apu fired up or use external power. Let's go ahead and use external power. With external power on the aircraft, we'll let the screens come to life, and I'm going to brighten everything up here as well. Ryder, good to see you, man. Just in time indeed. Welcome. Level Ds aren't evaluated for their graphics. True, they are not. I will tell you this, though, like the newer sims that we fly, like the super new ones, because there's, I mean, a level D sim is pretty generic, and I don't even know if, I'm sure that they're all level D, but like the newest models, and I'll have a model number for you probably when after the end of this week when I go see it. The newest versions that come out actually have really good airport detail. For instance, you know, doing the Burbank, flying into Burbank, we practiced that approach, and it looks very, very, very good. It looks like Ortho and probably Orbix and X-Plane 11. So it does look pretty good, but that's just the airport area. Once you get out, it just looks like FS98 or whatever, FSX basically. But the airport terminal environments are very good. All right, I don't know why the doors, I guess we're in automatic. I'm kind of a little bit rusty here when it comes to this as well, so this is my first real flight back in X-Plane in, I don't know how long. Did you hear that Laminar is working with a level D customer to integrate X-Plane with their level D? No, I did. Actually, you know what, Simulator? I think I heard some of that. I was watching that interview with Orbix on the on my overnight the other night there when they were having that. So I did hear a little bit about that. All right, external power is on. At this point, we'll do an Apu Fire Test. CRC, we're looking for the fire light, the squib, and the discharge light. That is good. We're not going to start the Apu at this point. We'll go ahead and leave it as is. Now we come to the conditioning panel. Pack flow normal. Fault light. Everything is normal here. We'll probably turn these down a little bit because it is hot and summertime. Cargo heat is basically lights out as appropriate. That looks good. Cockpit integral lights, I'm just going to go ahead and turn those up as well. From there, we're going to come back down to the ECAM, and I'm going to go to my engine page. We're looking for our oil quartz. 22 is good, 21 is good. Let's look at pressurization is in auto. Let's go hydraulics. That is all serviced properly. I will press and hold the recall key. Status is normal there. And normal there. So no faults from the last crew. That looks good. Flaps are up. Spoid brakes are disarmed. Parking brake is set. We will check the accumulator pressure. It is in the green band. Very good. From that point, we can get up. We can go check the emergency equipment, circuit breakers. I got to remember how to move around this cockpit. Jeez, I don't remember how to move around the cockpit. Basically, circuit breaker panels, rain repellent, which is this thing right here. There's a little gauge. And emergency equipment, we would check for, obviously, fire extinguisher, PBs, all that good stuff, life vest behind the seats, head outside for the walk around. Simulating that has been completed. We come in here. I'm going to do the captain flow now up the left-hand side. Crew oxygen, ground control, CVR test. Beautiful. Nav on the ADIRS. I missed a switch, captain purse to captain only. So Let's take a quick look at this overhead panel real quick as just a quick review. So we have two types of ADIRS panels in the Airbus. We have the older version, which is with the keypad like this right here. And then we have the newer version that you see, I think on the Neo has it in fly-by-wire, and the 321 and Toliss has it, where you don't have this keypad up here. That is two different ADIRS panels. This panel right here, if you lose an IR, basically you lose IR and ADR information. You can see these are not push buttons here. The ADRs are push buttons, but the IRs are not push buttons. On that new panel without the keypad, you can actually press the IR push button here, and that would allow you to recover the ADR information and not lose the whole ADR. You can just lose the IR part. You can isolate it. So that's the difference on panels there, but we have a proper panel here for an old 319. That looks good. With that complete, let's do our external lights. We're going to go auto, nav position 1, seatbelts off, no smoking auto, arm the emergency exit lights. We'll check the landing field elevation. Oops. Landing field elevation is in auto. Remember, we have 3 different modes here. A review from our last stream. We have full automatic mode, which is what we are in. The landing field elevation is calculated from the FMGC. We have semi-automatic, which is when we want to be a Boeing from 1930 and manually select our landing elevation from the overhead rotary knob. This would be done if the airport is not in the database. Maybe you're doing a charter flight, maybe you're diverting. Any scenario where the airport you're landing is not in the aircraft database, you can manually select the landing elevation here. The last and final mode for the cabin pressurization is the fully manual mode, which is you'd have to press this mode select push button and it will turn into man on. With man on, you now manually control the outflow valve of the aircraft, which is located back here, kind of obscured. There it is. Right here, so you can control the pressurization of the airplane back and forth. Now let's go ahead and do a quick review of our pressurization. 9.0, 8.6 safety relief valve, and -1 PSI of max negative differential. Done. Boom. Continuing on the overhead, we got the cold lights or cold air on. That's good. Fault lights in the generators. That's normal as associated. We could do a battery test. Let's do a quick battery test, shall we? Let's go back to electric page, pop it out, up to the overhead. 1, 2, off. What are we looking for? 60 amps or less within 10 seconds. You can see we are passing this battery test. The arrows pointing out means the batteries are receiving a charge from the DC bat bus. Anon, what's up? Says, oh, back in a real flight sim about time. Yes, sir. Guys, and again, for the chat, I'm ripping through my overhead, and any questions I can think of that I'm going to get asked, I'm just going to explain them out loud to you. This is a training stream for me. Tomorrow will be a mock check ride, essentially, stream. Today is training, so I may miss something. I may forget something. I can look it up. If you have questions about something, please put them in the chat. And tag my name on it so then it'll catch my eye, because a lot of you guys bring up great questions that are systems related, and this whole stream again is about learning and training, whereas tomorrow will be more of a mock check ride profile. Here we go. How you doing? This is a training stream, so if you got questions, let me know. But there we go. Look at that. Battery test is successful. Continuing on the overhead, fire 1, fire 2. Remember, we're not only checking for the light, we're checking for the CRC, master caution, or I'm sorry, master warning, the upper recam, and the fire light down here in the pedestal. APU has already been checked up the right-hand side. Let's turn on the third ACP, PA out into the 12 o'clock position. Cool. Come down here. We'll go ahead and get that on. We'll get that on, and I'll double-check pressurization yet again. We are in auto. Cool. Idle, off, parking brake is set. Beautiful. At this point, let's do a quick flight plan here. 78 likes and 217 viewers. Oh yeah, let's go ahead and bump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers, right, Niels? Appreciate you, man. So for this flight plan, let's just do something simple. Let's just do Las Vegas, Burbank. We're gonna do that. Boom. We're gonna be flight number V1. Cost index 55, cruise flight level 240. We can align on ref. Boom. I don't know what the tropo is today. We would put that in there. Real quick, this is just, remember, like I said, kind of a garbage flight plan for semantics. 26 right. We're going to take the, let's see if I remember this. I believe it was a Raider 2. Is it level transition? I don't remember. Then Burbank, arrival, ILS Zulu. Janny 5, I want to say. That's probably messing up. Janny 5. Insert. That's fine. We're not going to fly there anyway. Level, Janny, boom, insert. Done. I can't fly 55. That grows. We're not going to be flying 55. Don't worry. Don't worry. All right, so we got a garbage flight plan in there. What's not garbage is our secondary. So in the secondary flight plan, we're going to load up our emergency return, which is Vegas to Vegas. Mr. Sim Aviator gifting 5 memberships. Wow, gifting 5 memberships for you guys to claim. That means you're now able to chat in the stream as well. You get a bunch of other content, exclamation point, welcome. Sim Aviator, that's very kind of you, sir. Thank you so much for gifting the 5 additional memberships. Very cool, man. Cool deal. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. That's very generous of you, sir. And if you do receive a membership gift, do shout out Sim Aviator and thank him for that. That's very generous of him. All right, departing off of 26 right. We're going to set 26 right, no SID. Now, in the real airplane here, for us, specifically departing Vegas, we would have an EO SID option, and it would be listed right here. It'd say EO SID, so you can just select the engine out SID. We're going to do it the old-fashioned way. We'll go 26 right, no SID. Las Vegas arrival. If I pop an engine and come back, oh, I don't even know how to open up AviTab. I don't even know what my binding for AviTab is anymore, guys. Wow. We'll just do 26 right. Longer runway, insert. Boom, that's fine. Now what we have to do is put in our fix rings. Now, yeah, let's do it. So to do this, we're going to do Las Vegas. The runway heading off of 26 is going to be 259. So I want the Las Vegas 259, and I want it out there at 3 miles. I'll put it there, PBD 01. And I can clear this waypoint out, clear that out, boom. That gives me a straight out. Basically, if we pop an engine, we're going to go straight out 3 miles, and then we make a right turn. So I have to look at the complex special, which says 3 miles right turn from Las Vegas on a heading of 035 all the way out to 13 miles from Las Vegas. So what is another method? We can put this in the box. We have our first leg. Let's use fix info. Las Vegas goes in the reference fix number 1. We're going to use 2 rings today. So the first ring, we're going to back ourselves up with a 3 mile radius. The second ring we're going to back ourselves up with from Las Vegas is the 13 mile ring. Look, Grand Canyon Village, Arizona is calling me. I assume that would be a spam call. Unbelievable. All right, 13 miles from Las Vegas will be our second right turn. So if we look at our flight plan page, well, we're not aligned yet, are we? No, we got 2 minutes to go. Map not avail. So once we get aligned, you'll be able to see all that good stuff in there. Flight plan is good. Secondary is good. RadNav page, I will hard tune Las Vegas VOR as well. On the primary side, that is done. We got a ILAS to come back around if we need it. Progress page, Las Vegas 26 right for departure. That is set. Perf, we're going to do that in Init B. Let's go ahead and finish that now. And we'll go ahead and actually, yeah, let's finish that and then we'll get the Apu fired up. So we need to get this airplane close to max weight for landing. So let's go over our landing weights real quick. 319, 137, 788. 320, 145, 505. Neo, 148, 591. 321, 171, 519. So 137, 788 is the 319. So 137.8 basically is what we want. I'm going to set like, we don't need 4,000 pounds. Let's do this and let's do that. We'll see what that gives us. Flaps 1, not a Toga. We're going to be 140, 40, 43, but I'm going to adjust that to V-speed to be more comparable to our scenario that we're going to test. I did add the 13 radial. I think I did. I didn't do radius. I think you're absolutely right. Let me double check my fixed infos. 3 nautical mile radius. You're absolutely right. And 13. Good catch. Bam. That's why technically you should build that after you're initialized, so you can see it on the ND. All right, that gives us a zero fuel weight of 126.8 with a CG 27.5. That is going to be set there. Our block fuel 12.2. Gives us an estimated takeoff weight 138.6. Dang, look at that. Done. Seen it all here. Ultra graphics and circa 07 carts or 07 charts. Shaq Oatmeal, dude. I know, man. Thank you for your continued support, my friend. I'm gonna get the alert box back on as well, so you guys can get the alert tones back. But Shaq, thank you for your continued support, man. Appreciate you. Yes, circa 07 charts with max graphics. What can I say? What can I say? Alex, also welcome to Private Pilot, sir. Glad to have you on board, man. Welcome to the stream. All right, perf data. We're going to use, like I said, I'm going to adjust these numbers. We're going to use 135 for V1, and then we're going to use 140 and 143. I want to give myself a little bit more gap. This is a flaps 1 flex 69. So we'll do a flap 1 flex of 69 set. All right, that is done. Let's come up to the overhead. Let's get our APU fired up. Our fuel is on board. Fuel pumps on. Seatbelt sign on. Start the Apu. Sounds are quiet. My sounds have been giving me some issues. I think it's just because I've got maybe conflicting sound packs, maybe. I'm just not used to the quietness of this one here. The textures are hurting my eyes. Team Vodka. Dude, this is about as good as it can get. Max graphics, X Enviro. I mean, this doesn't look all that bad right here. This doesn't look all that bad. Come on. That doesn't look that bad. The engines belong in Microsoft Flight Sim, I would tell you that. All right, flap open message. Let's go ahead and start the chrono. 3 minutes suggested before we turn on the bleed. At that point, let's go ahead and turn off external power. Load up the aircraft. We don't have ATC. We're not even online. We're going to set top altitude of 18,000 as an intermediate altitude constraint mode. Both side 3048. That is good. We are aligned. Climb nav. 1 FD2.
Bank angle.
Bank angle check. Albert 1. Thank you so much, man, for the $5 dono, sir. Bank angle check right back at you. I don't see a message with your dono, but I really appreciate it, man. Thank you for your support, Alex. I'm very much appreciative. Shaq O'Meal says, going for my 150 nautical mile cross country next week. I'll need a big pour after that one. Ooh, Shaq, definitely, dude, definitely. Keep us posted. That's a lot of fun, man. That's very exciting to see you guys going through. All you guys in the Discord that are going through training, I love it when you post in the real world section and just keep us all updated of your progress. I love following along. Shaq, definitely, man, been a big part of the channel. So best of luck. I'm sure you're gonna absolutely crush it. Did you see my little meme I had the other day about the Charlotte ramp control, man, just being a dumpster fire? Or actually of it being trash? Charlotte ramp I've been personally victimized by Charlotte ramp, so I have a little vendetta. All right, I'm trying to adjust something here. Oh, that's right. I turned down that volume for that. Beautiful. All right. Let's go ahead and get the bleed on. We'll simulate it's been 3 minutes because I can't listen to myself breathe anymore. So the APU bleed is going to come online. One thing I'm not used to is the screen moving is so much faster in XPlane than in Microsoft. Like, you have to really click and drag. This is like super quick. I'm not used to it at all. Ground services, let's go ahead and pull the external power. Let's go ahead and pull chocks. Everything else is closed. I'm going to manually close these so we don't have any doors open up after any emergencies. Everything is closed there. Let's go ahead and disconnect you, please. I think I just have to disconnect the brake. We're going to have terrain radar up on both sides. 18,000 is set. Let's do a B4 takeoff brief. So we're going to be departing off here of 26 right on the radar departure up to flight level 180. Multiple restrictions and altitudes on the departure. We're going to talk about that later. We're not even going to fly the departure. I'll save a full brief for tomorrow's practice check ride. The important topics, let's talk about abort procedures. Prior to V1, it'll be my decision to reject. I will bring the aircraft to a complete stop. I'll put the parking brake on, call flight attendant stations, and I'll analyze the situation. Call for any ECAM actions or the emergency evacuation checklist as required. First officer will call auto brakes, manual brakes, notify tower they're stopping on the runway, turn on the dome light, which is already on so we can see what we're doing, and let them know if we need emergency vehicle assistance. Cool. Let's do something we haven't been able to do in a long time. Better pushback? Start pushback.
Ground to cockpit. Please show me where you want to go.
I want to go right here.
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
Feels at home, ain't it? Sim Aviator. I don't know, man. I don't know, dude. I don't know. I don't know. IE's V1 back in his natural habitat. Yes, Stephen, and that is another reason why I wanted to be in the Toliss. For today's stream in particular, there was two main reasons for today's stream being in the Toliss. The IEs and the ECAM associated with IE engines. This is what I'm going to be looking at in the sim, because our simulators that we have recurrent in are IE sims. So at least, well, we can do Neo too. Basically, the sim can transfer to whatever you want it to be, but it's always been standard that we just always use IAEs for the recurrent training process. So I have proper IAE indications on the ECAM. And then the flight model is so good in an abnormal situation here because it just, the directional control feels very, very much like the real sim. So whereas at Microsoft it was pretty difficult to maintain directional control with a single engine. All right, so he's setting up for the pushback. Alberto, welcome back to Private Pilot, sir. Glad to have you on board as always, man. You are tempted to say yes. Sim Aviator, look, I will say this, man. I watched that that interview that you mentioned with Austin Meyer and Orbix. I've said this from the very beginning.
And bypass pin inserted. Release parking.
Never count Austin out, right? Let's go Tiller Cam online for this. Uh-oh. Oh, I thought I crashed my sim. All right. Brakes released. Clear to push.
Starting pushback. And you may start engines.
So I always said to never count Austin out because he is an extremely passionate person, an extremely smart person. So if anybody can do it, I think it'll be him. I am looking forward to XPlane 12 and what it brings. XPlane 11, on the other hand, man, it's tough. It's so tough, man. It's tough, but I mean, the flying, you can't. I'll tell you guys, it flies more realistic than the Phoenix, definitely. Austin Meyer's my dream aeronautical engineering professor. That would be a hell of a class, indeed. All right, let's go ahead and start engines. Starting engine 1. Engine mode to ignition start. We have bleed pressure. Let's go ahead and start engine 1. I'll be tempted to love that flyby camera. Oh yeah, we'll have a flyby camera today. Chris Rund, what's up, man? Says I drank the Kool-Aid and spent the weekend installing Microsoft, PMDG, and Phoenix. Chris Rund, dude, that's awesome, man. Good to hear it. You will not be disappointed, man. You will not be disappointed. Tomorrow, I think we will be in the Phoenix because we're not going to be doing as much single engine stuff. We're going to do some more ECAM handling and not necessarily flight physics related. So I think we'll be back in Microsoft tomorrow. Today I wanted to get all the single engine stuff out of the way because I want to do it in XPlane. All right, we got a good start on engine 1. And let's go ahead and you're clear to start engine 2. Starting 2. Let's take a look. let's watch this proper IE startup here. N2 is on the rise.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
Brakes are set. Clear disconnect.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
So you'll see a much more realistic spool up here of the IEs. You also keep an XPlane. There you go. That's the best of both worlds, man. Sim, you want to fly the Airbus now? I've been grinding some hours in the Challenger. Yeah, I tuned in the other day when you were in the 7.6, I believe, the 400, which yeah, it looked good for XPlane 10. Just messing, man. Just messing. But that Challenger, though, no denying the Challenger. That is a hell of an airplane indeed. All right, got a good start on 2. Look at how nice and smooth everything is. One thing I really noticed, guys, when I did my practice, just to make sure I had everything bound, is the speed at which the engines
Tow is disconnected. Unbypassed and has been
spool up and spool down is spot on. Spot on. Definitely the Phoenixes, you could tell they're compensating for a base model. I'm really looking forward to what they're going to bring to the table when they have their custom engine model. But there is no doubt that, I mean, I can physically feel the difference and hear the difference when I'm back in the Toliss. There's no doubt about it. Toliss did a phenomenal job with the engine modeling. All right, we got 2 good starts. Let's go ahead and engine mode selector back here. One thing I could not bind is this. So we're going to bind that and then up to the overhead. Boom, boom. And let's go flaps 1. Oh, look at those textures. That's better. The second I know the Fila 742 is coming to XPlane 12, I'm pulling the trigger on the whole new NVMe. Oh yeah, definitely, man. There's that 742. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Flaps 1 plus F, good start on 2, everything else is done. We're going to taxi out 26 right. Let's go ahead and go taxi light on. Brakes released. Fly by. Ooh, this ought to be good. I hope my tiller is bound. We're going to taxi right into those trucks, unfortunately. Maybe we can turn early. Oh man, how simple is the camera system in XPlane? I just want to know who developed the camera system for XPlane 11 and just shake their hand, because they did a phenomenal job. Alright guys, so here's the deal. The stick cams will block the ECAM. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do is, for the first RTO, I will just go ahead and leave the ECAM on, or I'll leave the stick cam on, and then when we start doing the comprehensive ECAM departure, we will then, I'll just turn off the stick cam so you can watch the ECAM and as I go through the procedure in the cockpit. So let's go ahead and, we never did a brake check, that's good. But I mean, just, yeah, taxiing around, ground handling. I mean, I desperately need to reinstall the Toliss and just reinstall the sound mod and get everything back, but it's just, I don't want to take the time to do it on 11. XPlane 12 will be where I start fresh. I'm not going to take the time to reset everything here. I'm happy for you to sacrifice the throttle cam for more ECAM. Okay, yeah, I can do that, Aaron. That's kind of what I was going to do anyway. I might just do it for the whole stream. I'll bring it up, you know, of course, for like when we do our maneuvers and stuff. Speaking of which, let's do our flight control check on the taxi out. Full up. Full down. Neutral. Full left. Full right. Neutral. Do I have this bound? I do. Full left. Full right. Neutral. Love to see that. Proper tiller binding for XPlane 11 there as well. And we were like 0.1 down, weren't we? Yeah, 0.1 down on the trim. Aaron Hastings plus name will be waiting. Cool. All right, so on the RTO then, so what I'll do is I will just I will, I'll turn off the cam for departures. Dimitri says, say what you will for X-Enviro, I dare you to get better atmosphere than this, even with Microsoft. No, Dimitri. Ooh, a little hard on the ERP there. No way, dude. X-Enviro is aight, but it's not. No, it's not up to par, man. No way. Taxing in our Airbus is a native bank. Taxiling is our Airbus native bank angle check. Vodka got a bail. Have to go see an actual customer for once. Wow, I didn't know you actually still work, man. I thought you just flew the 310 around all day. I'm just messing. Have a good one, Vodka. Thanks for stopping by, dude. Ooh, can I pop out the... You know what? I didn't even think about that. I could pop out the ECAM up there. Interesting. We have options. We have options. For this first one, since it will be an RTO, I'll just leave the throttle cam up, but then after that, we'll turn it off. So you can watch the ECAM. All right, holding short of 2.6 right. The one binding I can't figure out how to bind is that speed brake arm. I think it's because I need to recalibrate my speed brake. All right, there's nobody here, so let's go ahead and line up and wait. See, like every time I move it. Yeah, that's fine. We'll have to deal with that. Auto brakes max, takeoff config checked. Radar PWS is coming on. Auto, TARA, and 2000. Cabin is ready. All right, so at this point, we're going to inject the fault, and I already have some scenarios saved for when we reset, so we're looking good. All right, so for this takeoff, I'm going to real quick, I'm going to set the parking brake. Let's take a look outside, though, and enjoy this view. I mean, it doesn't look that bad. This livery is 10 for 10, though. We're going to need flexes in chat. Man or auto for the GPWS? Should be an auto. Oh, the GPWS. What are you talking about? PWS is auto. All right. What are we going to use to pull us? I'm going to do new fault. Engine. We're going to do an engine 1 lame out. At speed 120, we'll do 115 knots. All right, so this will be our first RTO. Not quite yoga's in chat. Brakes released. And I really wish I could get you to arm. Hold on. I think what it needs is a bigger dead zone. That's the one thing I didn't calibrate for XPlane. All right, hopefully that'll stay. Here we go. We don't have any flexes, but you can flex your arm muscles. Flexes in chat, here we go. Spool them up 50. Watch the, here we go. You know what, screw it. Because I want you guys to see this too. I'm gonna just put this up here. Just because I want you guys, why can't I move it any further? That's weird, I can only put it right there. Can't move it any further. Just watch the behavior of the engines. Watch how good they spool up here. Here we go, 50%. About 1.05 E/per. Man flex, SRS nav, auto thrust blue. Thrust set. 100 knots. Check. Engine failure. Reject. I have control. Maintain directional control. 70 knots. Use of reversers permitted to aircraft stop and emergency. Manual brakes. Idle. Park brake set. Flight attendant stations. All right, that wasn't too bad. Engine 1 fail. That actually wasn't too bad. Let me do, watch this. Let's watch the replay on that one. Let's back it up. So you can see the reason why I wanted to do an engine fail and not an engine fire right there is because that huge yaw moment. You know, imagine doing a Toga takeoff here, you'd even have more yaw. So that's kind of the argument between, you know, a Toga takeoff and a flex takeoff when you have snow on the runway, because of that yaw is going to be exacerbated with a Toga takeoff. But that one was pretty solid. Let's go ahead and watch this one from the outside. I mean, you're basically, once you hit 100 knots, you're go-minded, except any red warning or obviously an engine failure. There's the failure. Get back on it. That is the critical step right there. That initial yaw, you don't want to go too much. I maybe went a little bit hard on it. We got it. Do an idle reverse or full reverse here on the remaining operating engine. You could use it down to aircraft stop. We stopped her dead smack on the center line. So that was good. Well, at least we stopped on the center line. Where did it fail? So right here. Watching it. That's why I was about a nose wheel width off anyway. Failed. Recover. So right here, this is the yaw moment that you got to be very careful about. If you go too much rudder here, now you're going to start S-turning down the runway. So it's a fine line between getting control and not overcorrecting. The way to do that is to have your eyes down here. If you start looking at these runway stripes here on like an engine failure at high speed, you're going to just start S-turning. You've got to keep your eyes at the far end of the runway, recover that aircraft, get directional control back, already correcting back to the left. Wasn't too bad at all. Reversers are out, spoilers are out. Slowing the aircraft all the way down. Set the parking brake, analyze the situation, and get back to work. Cool, let's go ahead and get out of replay mode. Let me take a look at my wheel temps. Look at that. That's what I expect. We just did an RTO at 115 knots, 32C at 138,000 pounds. Not the heaviest. Not the hottest, but we're almost at 500C already. This is what I'm talking about right here. These are very, very, very good brake temp modeling from Toliss. 10 for 10 from Toliss on the brake temperature modeling simulation. Absolutely love it. Okay, let's go ahead and reset. We're going to go ahead and I figure out the best way to do this if I just do reset all, apply now. Cool, and then I go back to my situations. We're going to do the this one. We're going to load it. Now we're back. All right, so this one's going to be a normal takeoff. And we're going to just leave the camera off for this one. And let me get out of reverse. So you hear that like reverse sound? I don't know what that's all about. I don't know where that comes from. But, oh, my spoilers, everything else is set. Let's go brakes off. It doesn't matter. Screw that. All right, here we go. Normal takeoff now. Normal takeoff. Spool them up 50. That sound, that reverse sound will go away at some point. Man Flex 68 SRS nav. Auto thrust is blue. I don't know why the left engine took forever to spool up there. Once we get to about 80 knots, that sound will go away. Some kind of sound bug. Thank you, Iron Man. Thank you. Thank you, Niels. Appreciate you both, man. 80 knots, thrust set. Neutralize the stick a little bit early there. That's right, we're practicing. 100 knots, check. V1. Rotate. Positive rate. Gear up. Nav. Fly by. Gotta love it. Neil says, awesome instructional material, 2 years and counting. Thank you, Captain. 2 years and counting. Thank you so much, Niels, for your continued support, man. Absolutely love it. Thank you, thank you. Iron Man, thank you so much. Says, keep up the great work. Will indeed. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate you. Let's get another flyby in here before we go do some air work. There's Vegas. Let's go ahead and... Which way is the clock moving? I need to skip it forward. Yeah, let's go ahead and get that sun back down a little bit. That's right in my face. Let's go autopilot 1. There's our positive trend. Thrust, climb, climb, auto thrust. Alright, so for our maneuvers, let's go ahead and turn away from the sun. I'm going to set... Oh, we got to reset our TCAS here. Let's go on TARA. So this is where we get a little bit of simisms. That's totally fine. Let's go ahead and level off at 6,000. I'm going to pull for open climb here at 6,000. Thrust climb, open climb. There's S speed. Flaps is 0. Flyby is the biggest gift of XPlane. I don't get tired of it, that's for sure. Don't get tired of flybys. Alright, we'll select speed 250 knots. And let's pull a heading so we kind of fly back towards where we were. Let's do about a 100 heading. Actually, let's make it 090. Due east is fine. Flip it all the way around. 090 eastbound. When is the next podcast? Great question. Soon, TM. Thank you, Jordan Rankin, for your support, man. I really am. I have one done on the PC. Here's what I'm struggling with. I'm tossing the idea between doing the podcast live because I love the interaction part with you guys. You could ask questions as I go through the podcast, but I just, I don't know. We'll see. I have one done. I'm just changing the cockpit confessional at the end of it. And then it'll be uploaded soon, TM. Jeff, thank you for your continued support, man. Thank you for the $5 super chat, man. Very, very generous of you. Thank you very much. Hope you're enjoying the content. Let's get into some aerial maneuvers now. So for aerial maneuver, we can go ahead and bring up the we'll bring up the tiller cam for this, just so you can see what we're doing. And we're going to keep it at this way, keep it flying towards terrain. I'm going to go ahead and turn the autopilot off. Let's go flight directors off. So remember, the whole purpose of the steep turn maneuver is basically to just demonstrate basic airmanship and knowledge of the fly-by-wire system on the aircraft. So I'm going to set my view normal, and then what I love about the Toliss is or XPlane in general, we can pop these suckers out here. Don't really need that one up. So we've got our bird up. We're 6,000 feet level, 250 knots. Quick demonstration. If I roll into the left here, I don't know what that speed jump was. So I can go all the way up to, do you guys remember how many degrees? Angle of bank, 33 degrees angle of bank. Let go of the side stick and the aircraft will maintain 0 roll. Remember, this is a pseudo bank angle hold system with a fly-by-wire, but you have to think in terms of roll rate demand and load factor demand. When I move the side stick laterally, I am asking for a roll rate up to 15 degrees per second at full deflection in normal law. Now, if I pitch the airplane, I am now asking for a G-load demand or a load factor demand. I'm asking for more than 1 G. So if I pitch up 5 degrees, I'm asking for more than 1 G, then I stop, I'm now asking for 1 G. So it will maintain that pitch attitude, which is essentially an attitude hold mode. All right, so those are our basic fly-by-wire in a nutshell for you. Let's go ahead and get the airplane back on heading 360, descend down to 6,000 feet. So you can see I can just put the airplane where I want, take my hands off the stick, and it will maintain the last input. But remember, I want you guys thinking in terms of a load factor demand and roll rate, okay? All right. So let's do a steep turn. Let's go to the right this time. So I'm going to roll in. Now where it gets spicy, we'll bank angle check. Once we go past 33 degrees angle of bank, couple things happen. Number one, if I let go of the side stick, it's going to bring the wings back, or the attitude I should say, to 33 degrees angle of bank. So if I let go, you can see it'll go to 33 and stop. That's kind of the limit of that bank angle hold, quote unquote, function. So the purpose of the steep turn maneuver here is to demonstrate your knowledge of that. So once you go past 33, you've got to hold that bank angle in. Now the second part to going past 33 degrees angle of bank is your pitch trim is no longer compensating for 0G at that point. So once I go past 33 degrees, I also have to pitch the airplane up, right? It won't just keep it level. I have to add a little bit of back pressure to maintain level flight. Again, that is the whole purpose of this maneuver here, so you can demonstrate and explain to the examiner that you understand the basic functions of the fly-by-wire system. You see, as I roll out, the airplane wants to pitch up, get a little bit of increase of lift. All right, let's get back to 180 here, and then we'll actually do the maneuver. I know I'm talking kind of fast, but you have replay mode, and if I were to talk slow, we'd be here all night long. So 180 on the heading. Let's do one actual steep turn now. So 33 degrees, more than 33 degrees angle of bank, about 40 degrees angle of bank, level at 6,000. It can be done with the auto thrust on or off. Let's go ahead and roll in to the left. We're going to go to 360 and then back to 180. So rolling in past 33 degrees, a little bit of pitch, holding that bank. And the bird makes it nice and easy. You just split the bird on the horizon line. See, I got a little bit more brown than blue. That means I'm descending. A little bit more blue than brown. It means I'm climbing. Half and half. That's where you want it. 6,000 feet. Hold that bank angle in there. I'm oscillating. This is actually pretty piss poor here. See if I can lock it in. Lock it in. Don't chase it. There we go. A little bit high, correcting. 100 feet high, we're correcting. Hold that bank in. I'm a little shallow. That's why I'm climbing a little bit too. Correlation between your lift vector and bank angle. Well, I seem to be locked in at 6,100. Good thing this is a practice stream. All right, coming about 10 degrees prior to 360. Let's go ahead and roll it out. And we're going to go back. Now, as you roll wings level, it's going to want to climb, so keep a little bit of nose down pitch in there. And roll her into the right side. 40 degrees angle of bank. 6,000 feet. Lock it in now. Going to the right, to me, is easier. Being a captain, just feels easier to hold the stick to the right than it does to the left. When I was an FO, it was the opposite. Rudder use, no, it will maintain coordination. That is one thing that will remain coordinated. Whoever asked that question, I just saw it in chat there. I'm trying to read chat and do steep turns. The rudder will maintain coordination for you. Very little, I should say. It's not like you're just feet off the pedals, but you are very little input of the rudder. Very little input of the rudder. This is more so of a stick input demonstration. Here comes 180, 10 prior, level the wings, get a little nose down pitch in there as that lift vector increases as you roll out. You see how I climbed 80 feet there? That's a rookie move. All right, that's good there. Let's go ahead and re-engage the autopilot. So to rebuild our automation, we go outside in. Let's go flight directors on. Let's go autopilot. 6,000. Let's go back to regular speed out heading AP1. Let's go ahead and spin the airplane around. About 270. Fubar, that was you? Awesome. Thanks, man. Yeah, there was a good question there right in the steep turn. A great question indeed. Would there ever be a scenario where you do maneuver like this with passengers? Yes, absolutely, Jessica. It is possible. It is possible, although highly unlikely that you'd be exceeding 33 degrees angle of bank in a normal flight. But like you said, an emergency situation, or maybe there's some crazy approach, visual approach, where you have to exceed that to maintain a turn radius or something, possible.
2,000.
But
Terrain.
oh, chip whiz, autopilot,
Terrain.
wings level, Toga, full
Terrain,
aft stick.
terrain.
I didn't even mean to do that. This is a good demonstration. We can go full up, Toga, speed brakes, check, retract, wings level. We are clear. This was good. I didn't even anticipate doing it. Look at this. Now I'm going to hold this. We're clear of the jip whiz, but I'm going to hold this. I want to watch you. I want to show you guys what happens here in normal law. How an airplane will not stall. Wings level. Speed brakes are retracted. Gears up. We're climbing. Watch this. So in normal law, our pitch limit, 30 degrees. Here it comes. Look at that, we're going to V alpha max, right at the top of the red line there on the speed scale. And now the pitch trim is gonna hold V Alpha Max. Wow, that sun is blinding us right now. All right, isn't that cool? So that is why it is Toga. Let's go ahead and recover. Now we're in Toga lock. Let's go ahead and lower the nose. Let's get out of VLS. And let's go ahead and get out of the sun as well. Oh, I don't have my auto thrust bound? Interesting. I'll have to bind that button. I don't have it bound to my throttles. Alright, let's go ahead and recover the aircraft now. I guess we're close to 10,000 feet. So again, we got our flight directors on. Let's go ahead and dial in 10,000 here. Let's go ahead and pull autopilot, auto thrust, 250. We're in, I need to be in the climb detent. There we go. Speed out heading 10,000. So let's review what happened, because I actually did not even intend for that to happen. So let's go over this right now. So we were in because I wanted to do this later. I was trying to turn the airplane back towards the airport, but you heard the terrain. That is a JIPWIZ warning, or in this case, an E-JIPWIZ warning. It is procedure, standard procedure, that at any time, if you get an E-JIPWIZ warning, you must execute the JIPWIZ escape maneuver, or the ground prox memory item. What is the ground proximity memory items, you may ask? Well, autopilot, not even autopilot off, but it's autopilot off, full aft stick, Toga thrust. And the reason for that, full aft stick, you saw it there live. In normal law, the aircraft is protected at pitch limits of 30 degrees. So it is not going to let you exceed 30 degrees, and it will not allow you to over-G or over-stress the aircraft because, again, we're in normal law, as indicated by the green equal signs here on either side of the PFD. Your G limits will also be protected. So you could do full deflection any way you want on this. You're not going to overstress the airframe. That is part of your protections in the Airbus. So the most dangerous situation you can be is flying into terrain, right? Because that's 100% going to crash you. So autopilot off, full aft stick, Toga thrust, bank angle, want to make sure it is wings level. Why do we do wings level? This correlates with what we just did, that steep turn. So if you can imagine, can I turn the lift vectors on this? What's the key command to turn the lift vector on? When the airplane is level, each wing is creating the same amount of lift, right? Which is your maximum lift. If you're in a turn or in a bank, the only reason that you're actually banking is because one wing is providing more lift than the other wing. That's why when you roll in this case to the right, you'll see the aileron deflect, which spoils or kills a little bit of lift on this wing, which allows this wing to drop. So you can see that with like flaperons and all that stuff too. So in that steep turn maneuver I said every time you roll wings level, be careful, the airplane wants to pitch up. That's because you're increasing that lift coefficient on both wings when you come through wings level on the horizon. So you got to counteract that with a little bit of forward stick. But that is the same information that's needed here for this JIPWIZ recovery. And you can see it come hand in hand because bank angle, you want to make sure it's wings level so you get maximum lift coefficient in a JIPWIZ escape. Now the Toga thrust, we're going Toga thrust because it's obviously the most amount of thrust we can get to get us out of the maneuver. And then of course, spoid brakes check retract. They would automatically retract. They would automatically retract anyway, but we want to check that they're retracted and that the gear is up. So here we go. We hit the JIPWIZ here. Where was it? Let's see if we can hear it. There's the train. I heard it. Executed the maneuver. Look at that wing flex. Look at that. That's a 319 for you. Escape. That's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, I've never replayed a JIPWIZ. I've never done a replay in a JIPWIZ. Let me see if I can boost the sounds up a little bit. Hold on, we're gonna watch that again. I'm gonna turn the sounds up here a little bit more. Let me get my volume mixer up. Let me boost the old XPlane. This is why this XPlane platform is such a good teaching. Oh, it's already all the way up. It's such a good teaching tool because you can do all this extra stuff. All right, so here we go. Let's watch it again from this view. Lift vectors, Control M. couldn't get it. Look at that. Full toga. It looks like you're going straight up, but remember, we're limited at 30 degrees nose up. Billy B16, welcome to Private Pilot, sir. Glad to have you on board. Welcome. Look at that. Look at that climb out, man. Good night. You know, in a Boeing, you got to be careful you don't over G. You get careful you don't secondary stall. Airbus makes it easy, man. Boom. It's like a fighter pilot. It's a Top Gun, right? I'm going to hit the brakes and fly right by, essentially do a split S, but adding power. So boom, boom with the thrust levers and recover. All right, let's go ahead and exit replay mode. That was fun. Let's go ahead and element forces. Wait. Oh, cool. All right, so look. Watch this. Does it work? I'm going to turn the autopilot off. Look at that. Come back to the right. Look, so you can see this is the sum of your lift. Wow, this is... Roller Pilot, thank you so much, man, for your dono. I really appreciate that. Banking will check right back at you, sir. Look at this. So look, rolling in, and look where the lift decreases, right where the aileron is. Now, if I were to add speed brake, look, it's going to decrease the lift on the whole wing, right? Isn't that cool? That's cool to actually see that. And so to get real scientific, we're getting off track here, but I just want to cover this. This part of the airplane, the wingtip here, when we look at it, this is not, it's not just spoiling lift and creating lift to, I'm sorry, it's not just spoiling lift to drop this right wing. It's also creating lift in the downward direction. Because if you think about it, if I move this spoiler or this aileron down, I'm basically just increasing the angle of attack on this wing, and I'm creating lift in the downward direction. So watch the lift vectors below the wing. See that? See how they increase below the wing? So you're essentially creating negative lift, but it's really not negative lift. It's just lift in the opposite direction that you would traditionally think of lift. That's really cool to see that. All right, let's go. Let's turn that back off. Whoa. Let's turn it all off. All right, let's get back to normal stuff here. Wake turbulence. How do I turn that off? Whoa. Thermals and microbursts and off. Awesome. Thank you, Chaos. Appreciate you, man. All right, let's go ahead and get back to what we were doing here. So we did our steep turn maneuver. We did the jip whiz maneuver. Let's recover and get some basic stuff on. Let's just go 045, autopilot 1. Let's do an open descent down to 10,000 feet here. Thrust idle, open descent. And pop quiz, what happens if I select 100 knots in the FCU window? What's the lowest speed the airplane will fly? So we have 100 knots selected in the window. Auto thrust is on. We are in normal law. What is the airplane going to slow to? Roller Pilot, thanks again, man. I saw your $5 dono there. Been really busy explaining and talking, but I appreciate all the donos. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much, man. Krishna is exactly correct. It is a VLS. So we got speed alt star. I'm going to accelerate the deceleration by adding a little spoid brake here. And we're just going to demonstrate that VLS is the lowest speed the airplane will fly. We'll actually command the auto thrust to fly at VLS, which in this case looks to be about 199 knots or so. So we're going to demonstrate this like this. I'll go ahead and stow the speed brake. Doesn't the horizontal stab produce opposite lift? Trevor, you're absolutely correct. It does indeed. It does indeed. That's your traditional pitch, Trevor. So when you pitch up, what is the horizontal stab doing? It's going down, creating more AOA, creating more lift, creating lift in the downward moment on the tail, therefore moving the nose up. Whereas if you pitch down, the elevator moves up, creating lift in the upward moment, or I said that backwards, but you know what I'm getting at. Basically making the tail go up, which would then drive the nose down. So you're absolutely correct, Trevor. This elevator is essentially, I mean, not essentially, it is an airfoil. It is a small wing on the back of the airplane named the elevator, and it creates lift, either positive lift or negative lift, to drive the nose of the aircraft. And you can see here we are stable at VLS, 100 knots, and the airplane will hold 100 knots just fine. All right, so what would happen if I went and turned the auto thrust off? So let's go ahead and bring the auto thrust off. For normal law, auto thrust is off. Now what's going to happen? So we're going to slow into VLS, which is the single amber line. After we get past VLS, the next segment on the airspeed tape is called V-alpha prot, V-alpha protections. Since we're in normal law, we have protections. You already saw some of those in play today. Let's watch what happens here. So now we have entered into V-alpha protection. First step, autopilot disconnect, right? I didn't touch anything, so now the autopilot is disconnected. And you can see the nose. Now if I pull back on the stick, pitch trim will become inhibited, and then alpha floor will trigger. So when alpha floor triggers, I'm going to continue to hold full aft stick. It doesn't even matter. Auto thrust wasn't even on, but we've triggered alpha floor protection, and the aircraft is going to climb out at V alpha max, the top of the red line, preventing you from stalling. Now we're at Toga lock. Let's go ahead and recover. Since I don't have it bound, I'll have to do it a different way. It's just not a recommended way, but we'll lower the nose here. Disengage the auto thrust. A little premature. You would want to be out of VLS before you start bringing the power back, but that was just to demonstrate the normal protections. All right, one more demonstration. We're going to do a stall recovery here, and in order to do that, let's go ahead and bring the tiller cam up, and I'm going to drive the airplane into alternate law. We're going to turn off two ADRs. I'm going to do ADR switching to Captain 3. So now I've got air data information, but we are in alternate law at this point. Biggest thing to remember about alternate law is you can indeed stall. So let's go ahead and turn off the flight directors. Let's go ahead and bring the power at idle. Let's go ahead and extend flaps. No, it's not. Oh, I didn't mean to do it. Didn't mean to do it. So can you actually stall 319? Anon. A good Airbus pilot will always be aware that the airplane can stall in any law at any time. However, highly unlikely in normal law. In alternate law, totally different story. So you could see here as we start to slow down, let me pause so you could see what are we missing on our speed tape. We still have VLS, but we no longer have the tiger tail, V-alpha prot or V-alpha protection. Protections are lost, and this also tells you this over here. Alternate law, protections lost. So therefore we don't have any V-alpha prot on the airspeed tape. So if we continue to slow down, we will indeed stall the Airbus. And this is the configuration that Air France 447 went into the water. So not necessarily flaps too, but they were in alternate law. All right, so I'm going to let the airplane, I'm just kind of just simulating a departure stall here with about 10-degree bank, and we're going to do a stall recovery. So say we're flying along, we're not paying attention, yada, yada, yada. I can turn the bird on so we can see our AOA. Quick pause here about AOA. So the difference between the tip of the tail of the bird and the center of this yellow triangle here, that is your actual angle of attack. Remember, speed does not matter what speed you are flying when you're stalling an airplane. An airplane can stall at any speed, high, low, everywhere in between. What makes an airplane stall is exceeding the critical angle of attack. You can see our critical angle of attack here is getting pretty wide. The tail of the flight path marker is about 7 degrees, and we're approaching 10 degrees, so we almost got 3 degrees already. Let's go ahead and continue to hold 10 degrees of pitch. I'm going to hold 10 degrees of pitch. We're flaps 2. Stall. Recover. Stand them up. Get them going. Nose down. We're exiting VLS. Let's go ahead and bring the nose back up. Watch that secondary stall. Watch your speed. And level off 9,500 feet. So in that case, since we were nose high, lower the nose and roll wings level at the same time, so we get our max angle of, or our max lift, right, with both wings, and we can recover. All right, so the last thing we'll do a dirty stall. We'll go ahead and go gear down. Now with gear down in alternate law, we've now entered direct law. So in direct law, quick pause here, in direct law, which is indicated by the use man pitch trim on the PFD here and also on the ECAM, it says direct law. You now have a direct correlation between side stick deflection and a flight control position. So it is extremely sensitive. This is where you get the very twitchy and very, like, sometimes we fly airplanes that, oh man, why does it fly so twitchy, blah, blah, blah. This is how the real airplane flies in direct law. It feels like you're flying a badly modeled, a badly flight model airplane in XPlane because it is very twitchy. Your rate per second has nearly doubled up to 30 degrees per second at full deflection. So you can imagine it gets quite twitchy. Now, I don't have any, obviously no pitch hole, right? Because we're in direct law. So what do we use? Use man pitch trim. So add a little bit of trim in here. I'm gonna hold 5 degrees pitch. Okay, so I'm gonna pitch for about 5 degrees. We'll go ahead and extend flaps 3. And then we'll go flaps full. We're simulating landing in direct law and we're stalling in direct law and we're gonna recover. So we're config full. See how twitchy it is? That's just how the real sim acts too. You never want to have a big lunch before you go do direct law flying in the sim, that's for sure. So I'm trimming it in there, but you don't want to trim too much because it makes recovery very challenging. All right, so we're just going to hold this. The airplane is going to continue to decay in speed. And we'll take this one to like a full stall. So there, that would be a recovery. Let's go ahead and hold it. I'm going to hold it full aft, and now look, we are completely, utterly stalled in a 319. In direct law, 319, we are completely stalled out. This is a deep stall. Let's go ahead and recover. So first things first, lower the nose. Careful on that pitch. Don't want to drive it into the ground. Get your thrust in there. Add a VLS. Begin pitching up immediately. Once we get that reversal in vertical speed, go around flaps. Flaps 3. Positive rate. Gear up. A little excessive on the pitch. Let's go ahead and lower it down a little bit. Let's climb back up to 9,000. There's F speed, flaps 1. Speed checks, flaps 1. Now with the gear up, you'll notice that we're back in alternate law. We're not in direct law anymore. So we still have our pitch trim. We have auto pitch trim now. So we no longer have to use manual pitch trim at this point. There's 9,000 feet. Let's go ahead and start leveling. Start working that power back. S speed, flaps 0. And just like that, we are fully recovered and cleaned up now at 9,000 feet. And there you go. That is your direct law stall in the 319. All right, guys. That's going to conclude most of our air work. At this point, I wanted to do I want to go right into our single engine stuff, but let's just do a hand flow and visual approach at this point since the airport is, where's the airport? We got to do one of these in the sim. Let me find the airport. Oh, it's right below us. Perfect. Let's set up for a visual to runway 19er right. So we're going to go flight plan, secondary. Oh, I never initialized it. That's right. Let's do a quick one here. Let's do KLAS. I hate doing this without looking outside. We're looking good still. We'll go back to normal here. ILS 19er right, visual, insert just so we have it. Secondary, activate secondary. And all right, we are back in normal law. Status is normal. Everything's cleaned up. Airplane is recovered. And we're going to do a straight up visual approach to 19er right below us. Let's go power to idle. Let's get down and get down. I wish I had my track IR on for this. I'm not... What's happening here? Well, that's all the way out to Kyvie. That's fine. We're not even going to load. What I should do is I should just do this. Not even going to load an approach. Runway 19er. Actually, let's make it 19er left. That's the one that airliners land on. Insert. Cool. Select heading track. Land and heading. What? Alright, well that's a bug. No worries. Let's go ahead and speed brakes out. We're going to land her right over there, 19er left. Completely visual. And then we get into the fun stuff. We're going to start doing our single engine ops. A very cute brick though, exactly. But yes, to go all the way back to your question, can you stall an Airbus? Even though you have all these protections, a good Airbus pilot should always be taught and always be in the mindset of, yes, you can stall the Airbus, even in normal law, because sometimes the aircraft position could differ from maybe what the flight control computers are thinking it's in. There could be some scenario out there that would put you in a stall, even in normal law. It's 100% a possibility. Let's go gear down. Let's bring it in tight. We're looking to be stable by 1,000 feet. This is Flight Tampa, yes indeed.
Oh
man, we might be too high for this, but it might work out. There's VFE next, minus 10 now, flaps 2. That'll really help us start to come down. There we go, now we're looking good.
2,000.
180 knots, 2,000 feet, runway's in sight. Let's go ahead and continue to slow up. Why did we lose our McDo? Oh, great. We've lost our McDo. I have random failures on still, that's why. Great. Flaps full. We'll just set a speed of 143 knots for VREF. I gotta find a way to bind that button. Alright, we are approaching 1,000 feet. We're a little bit high, but we're on speed. Correcting, I'm gonna do an S-turn out to the right. So, S-turn's approved. That'll help us lose some altitude here.
$500. $400.
Alright, we're close enough. Lower amber on the descent rate.
Sync rate. Sync rate.
Check.
Sync rate.
Wow. That would be a fail. Can't get her to come down though.
50, 40, 30, 20, retard, 10, drive.
Spoilers. Reverse screen. Decel. That'll work. 53 feet above. I forgot we have this one now. That was pretty unstable, but that's why we're doing it. Practice. Today's all practice. They don't set you up for a super high approach like that either. I just wanted to get us down on the ground so we can reset. All right. So that is part 1 of our practice. Let's go ahead and reset now for some really juicy stuff. So we're going to reset for Las Vegas V1 cut. Let's go ahead and load that situation. Airplane's going to come in here. That would be a good time to insert an ad. There you go. Does that actually make advertisements? I saw XP72 doing it. Sim Aviator, you have to head out, man? Aw, man, you're just going to miss the single engine stuff. Take it easy, bud. Have a good one. Thanks for stopping by, my friend. Thanks again for gifting some subs out. Very cool, man. Appreciate you. All right. This is V1 cut for Vegas. So we've got our flight plan in here. Our secondary is our single engine, and we have our fix infos. We do have our 3 and 13. Okay, good. So we're all set. Heading 230 after we pass, right? So on this V1 cut, we're going to fly the profile about halfway out. We'll reset, and then we're going to light it on fire, and then we're going to do everything, and then come back around and land single engine ILS. And then we can start wrapping it up. But quick brief on the V1 cut here. 3 miles from Las Vegas VOR, then a right turn heading 035. We'll take that out to 13 DME, which is the second fixed info ring I have out here at 6. You can see it over here. At that point, heading 100 to Las Vegas. All right, I'm going to also adjust the sim time. Let's go ahead and put the sun behind the mountain a little bit. And that is done. Flaps to takeoff, so flaps 1. And let's go ahead and arm you. Gosh, what's the arm? Is there an arm, speed brake arm? Like, so there's a, actually there's a button, arm. I don't want to hold it, I just want to toggle arm. Speed brakes toggle? Nope, that's full. Damn. So if I hold it down, it stays armed. I'd have to flip that. Interesting. Oh well. That's armed. Takeoff config is test. I don't even remember which engine we have failing, which is good. That'll help me out. I'm going to put this screen here. And we got to turn our TCAS, TARA. That is on 2000. 3 arms it. 4 disarms it. What do you mean? 3 arms it. 4 disarms it? What do you mean there, Mr. Martini? 3 arms it, 4 disarms it. Feedback retract 1. Alright, we'll be fine. Oh, on the keyboard. Ah. Alright, cool. Done. Alright, here we go. Nose forward on the stick. V1 cut. Park brakes released. Are the lights on? We gotta look cool doing this, right? Yeah, lights are on. Godspeed, here we go. Stable. Man flex, SRS nav, auto thrust blue. Thrust set. Just get back on center line. 100 knots. Check. V1. Engine failure. Get her going straight. Rotate. Watch that beta target. Rotate when you're easy. Nice and smooth. Nice and smooth. Positive rate. Gear up. Start that trim. I exceeded the 12.5 degree pitch target. That's on me. Let's get it back down. 12.5 degrees. I'm holding that rudder trim in there. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and select Toga. Engine 1 fail. Fly the airplane. Holding that trim in. I have not taken my hand off the rudder trim. I should have kept it up. Yeah, I'm still trimming. Okay, now we got the beta target is centered. We can go ahead and select Autopilot 1. pull heading, secondary, activate secondary, manage nav. We're waiting for 3,000 feet, push to level off. Waiting for our 3 miles. All right, engine 1 fail. Engine mode selector, ignition. Thrust lever 1, idle. Confirm. Thrust lever 1, confirmed. Idle. There is 3 miles. Let's go ahead and start the turn heading 035. Engine 1 master. Off. Confirm engine 1 master. Confirm. Off. Clear the caution. Here comes S-speed. Stop ECAM. Flap 0. Continue ECAM. Now at this point, I have to, there's 2 things happening. So one pilot's running the ECAM, the other pilot's flying the airplane. So at green dot, we're going to go ahead and pull for an open climb. Right here, 3 to 5 prior. Let's go ahead and pull, open climb to 5,900. We're still in Toga. We haven't exceeded our 5-minute limitation. All right, continue ECAM. Engine 1 fire push button. Push. Engine 1 fire push button, confirm. Push. I can see I've got plenty of performance on the airplane. At this point, I want to save my good engine, right? So I'm going to go ahead and bring my operating engine to thrust MCT, which is max continuous thrust. MCT is selected. Continuing ECAM. Agent 1, discharge. Confirm Agent 1. Confirm. And discharge light, there it is. Discharging. All right, so we're now on 035 out to 3,000 feet. Engine 1 relight, consider. I'm actually going to pop this one up over here so you can see it a little bit better. We're not going to consider a relight at this point. We have Amber X's. We can assume that for the simulation, what I'm going to get in the sim, we're not going to consider a relight. Clear engine 1. Clear engine 1. Okay, we're still climbing at 5,900. We're at 5.2 miles. We're looking good. All right, if no fuel leak, imbalance monitor. You could check for a couple different items for an imbalance or for a fuel leak. Right now, we're obviously burning more fuel from the right tank than we are the left tank, but that is normal. So imbalance, we're going to monitor that. TCAS mode selector, TA only, TA selected. That's to prevent any RAs from being single engine. Crossbleed, we're going to go ahead and shut the crossbleed valve. I don't know why that's in the open position. We'll go ahead and shut the crossbleed valve. Avoid icing conditions. All right, clear engine 1, clear engine 1. All right, at this point, we're pretty much fine and dandy. We clean it up, we'll run the comm, we come back and land single engine. That was decent. I exceeded my pitch target on takeoff. Let's go ahead and rewind it here. And then the next one we're going to actually catch it on fire. So let's go ahead and reset. We'll speed it up. We'll watch that. Just joined. Why the Toliss? For single engine handling purposes, it's much better than Microsoft. All right. So here we go. We're on takeoff mode. Let's go ahead and watch what happened. Steven, exactly. The ECAM on the Airbus is 10 for 10, man. 10 for 10. It really, it keeps you alive. Do the ECAM. It's going to keep you alive. All right, so I didn't like my pitch. Let's go ahead and analyze this here. So there's 100 knots. We're neutral. I think V1 was like 135 or 130 knots. So 130 knots was V1. Lost an engine right there. So a note about losing an engine after V1 but before VR. Just because you hit rotation speed when you're single engine, it does not mean you need to rotate the airplane just yet. You're obviously in a bad situation. You've got an engine out. You're going to have a yaw moment. You do not want to start rotating right now immediately and then do something funky and take out some runway lights, hit something, hit another airplane on the taxiway. So the number one thing to do is what we did on our first RTO, is maintain directional control. So see here, engine has failed. I'm at VR at this point, but what am I doing? I'm getting the airplane back on center line. If anything, you want to be parallel to the end of the center line. At this point, I'm happy with my position. I'm pointed straight down the runway. I'm not on center line, but that's okay. I know I've got enough speed to fly. We're straight, we're parallel, we're not yawing to the left. At this point, it is now safe to rotate the airplane. So let's go ahead and get a nice smooth rotation. We're looking for 12.5 degrees pitch, which is right about there. And I needed more rudder. Look at the airplane yawing off to the left. I definitely needed more rudder. And then I exceeded my pitch a little bit. Not quite. It wasn't perfect, but it wasn't horrible. All right, at this point, you're probably wondering, what am I doing? Nothing. Flying the airplane to maintain directional control. Looking at hot and heavy and high altitude, about 3,000 feet, barely climbing. At that point, I decided it was beneficial to select Toga. We have Toga thrust available. Our Toga limitation, 5 minutes with single engine inoperative. So I've selected Toga thrust to continue with the V1 climb out profile. Right now we're climbing out single engine. Look at that freaking, like we are not high at all, huh? That kind of brings it home. There's not a whole lot of room for error here. I mean, you can see we're safe, but we are not a lot of room for error. Now we're climbing out pretty good, 1,000 feet per minute. The airplane is trimmed out. Engage the autopilot. Why do you engage the autopilot? It helps you out. The airplane fully is capable of flying single engine on the autopilot. Relieve some of that workload so you can successfully conquer the task at hand at securing the engine, putting a fire out, whatever it may be. All right, there's our acceleration altitude of 3,000 feet. Or did I miss that? Nope, 3,200 feet. Perfect. Push to level off. We're vertical speed 0. At this point, the airplane is accelerating. And now we can handle the ECAM. So the pilot flying is doing nothing but flying the airplane. The pilot monitoring is now doing the ECAM steps and cleaning up the aircraft. There's our 3 miles. We start to turn right. You can see why you turn right on this single engine departure, because look at all that terrain out there. You do not want to be flying into that single engine. So basically, this is a special engine out procedure. Damn, those IEs look so freaking good. I love IE engines. Basically, the right turn keeps you in the bowl here. I gotta be honest with you, this actually doesn't look half bad right now. This doesn't look half bad at all. Dimitri, where you at? X Enviro for the win, man. I'm uninstalling Microsoft. That looks pretty dang good. I don't know if it's the IE engines or the time of day, but this looks good. Anyway, so yeah, continue with the EO-SID and clean up. So not bad. Overall, not bad. I'd probably rate myself 7.5. Maybe an 8 out of 10 on that one. I could have been a little bit better on the directional control, and I could have been a little bit less aggressive on the pitch for the rotation. So now the moment that you guys want to see. Let's go ahead and reset her. We're going to come back. Let me get my master switches up. Let me get my thrust levers back, and we'll go back to flaps 1. Everything looks good. Let's go back to the V1 cut load. Love the Toliss for this. You guys are awesome. Ooh, I never put the gear down. I hope I doesn't crash the sim now. To be fair, in real life, you would have felt the pitching better. True, Chaos. You're absolutely right. You would definitely feel it in your seat more. Dimitri says, nice. I'm telling you, for early morning and late sunset, atmosphere, lighting, X and Vivo rocks. Doesn't look bad at all. I'll tell you that. Doesn't look bad. 2017 called, they want their sim back. Oh, you're a savage. You're savage, Jeff. You're savage. Did we might have crashed the sim. See, I gave XPlane a compliment. And what does it do? It crashes the sim on me, I think. Let's give it a minute. It's okay. We have all of our situations saved. This happened to me before, and I just sat here, and basically what it's doing is it's loading the new flight, but you don't have a progress bar, so we'll give it another 2 minutes or so, or another minute. It's not a big deal if it's crashed at all, because I can literally load up and be in the situation in like 2 minutes, which I think we're going to do now. Yeah, I think we crashed it. That's all right. Hey, the amount of replays. Oh, I loaded V1 cut and not Las Vegas V1 cut. That'll do it. Because that was a different scenery. Ah, that's my fault, Krishna. Yeah. If I loaded base V1 cut, it was trying to load me back in Orbix, and it was going to take a really long time. Theoretically, I could wait for program to respond. Nah. Ah, that's my bad. Dang it. Yeah, because I loaded the wrong one, so it was trying to do too much. Not a big deal. Here we go. We're going to reset. It'll give me just like a minute or two. Wow, you guys are looking at absolutely nothing. I wish I could give you guys something to look at. Let's go ahead and launch XPlane again, though. Let's close it out of Task Manager, make sure it's gone, and reboot it. That was not XPlane's fault. Not XPlane's fault at all. That was 100% my fault. Sadly, I got to head out for the evening jog. Fat AF after Rona munching. Cheers for the great stream, Cap. We'll catch the rest in the back. Take it easy, Anon. We've got one engine fire to do left, and then I'm getting tired myself. We're going to wrap it up with a nice engine fire. We're going to put the flames out. We'll do emergency evacuation. This is the doozy one right here. Black screen, my favorite channel. Hey, can I get a like? How many likes can we get while you all are looking at a black screen? Let's do that. I'll give you guys at least some throttles to look at. How many likes for a black screen? Can we get a record? All right, 26 right. Confirm. Let's just go ahead and start flight. Ignore. There we go. Looks like an XPlane pink slip to me. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Oh yeah, Chaos. I feel you, man. All right, we're loading in. MinFam, yeah, the working through these procedures, like when you finish the sim in real life, it's like you're so exhausted. You're just like, oh my gosh, because typically you're gonna have to go through everything twice, because you have the other guy that needs to go through too. So you swap seats or whatever. But unless you're AQP, then you just do captain on FO. But if you're a captain on captain, depending on how your company does training, then you got to do everything twice. Mentally draining indeed. Drenched in sweat. Typically it's nice and cold in there, so hopefully that's not an issue. So tomorrow will probably be back in Microsoft. Hudson, what's up, man? Another thing, EO acceleration altitude 3700 is not 3000. Not on my chart. I'm looking at a EO complex special for 26 right, 3,200 feet for this departure. 3,200 feet, level off, and then accelerate. Could be, let's see. Well, it's definitely not MSL. That would be way too high. Let me see here. What do we got? Field elevation is 2,003. No, it's not in that. So yeah, my chart is 3,200. So I'm going off of what I got. Thanks for the $5 super chat, though. Appreciate you, man. Thanks. It could depend on your airline chart too. All right, we're back in the sim. Got up 472 things to update, which I'm not going to do because I'm waiting for XPlane 12. I just can't wait to Alt F4 this entire drive and start fresh with XPlane 12. Now I clicked early and I got the donut of death. So let's just pause. There we go. We're back. We're back in business. Cool, cool. The spam of Windows. I know. Update this, update this. I haven't been in the sim in forever. All right, here we go. This is the best part, though. Watch this. Ready? I want to load Las Vegas. Las Vegas V1 cut. Loading. Boom. Just like that. Jeff, you just picked up the Piper Arrow from Just Flight? Awesome, man. I absolutely love that airplane, too. It does feel like the real thing, man. It's great. It's a great fun. All right, let's go constraint mode, plan, zoom you down. Everything else is good. 3 to arm U, takeoff config. Let's come down here. I don't know why we've got that sound bug, which is really loud. It'll go away at 80 knots. I'll turn it down. All right, that's good. We are flaps config 1. Radar can come back on. All right. I'm going to speed it forward, though, so we can have a nice... We'll do this one kind of at night. because this one might be a little bit longer procedure. Same EO. Maybe I don't have the proper baro. Let me see, because that did look awfully low. What's the proper baro out here? Details 3000. That will make a big difference. That'll make a big difference. 3000, we gain a couple hundred feet there. So still for me on my chart, 3200 foot is the level off altitude for the EO. Everything looks good. Engine out, acceleration out to 3200 feet. Thrust reduction is 3700. That is 2-engine operating. All right, that's where you got that number. 3700 is for a 2-engine operation. Okay, so what I'm going to do, let's bring this back up here, and then why don't I just put the ECAM up like over here for you. I'm going to kind of shrink it. I'll plop it in this top left corner. I shouldn't have moved it. It was perfect where it was. I'll plop it up there. Hopefully that's not too bad for you guys. So now you can actually see my interactions down here and the ECAM. Best of both worlds. Last thing we want to do is change the fault to be an engine 1 fire at 138. Let's do it slightly after V1. Let's do it at like 140 knots. Okay, so that's going to be spicy. Our V1 speed is 130. So that's right before rotation. This ought to be fun. Are you guys ready? Let's go ahead and release the parking brake. Speed brake is armed. Spool up 50. Full procedure, fire, shutdown, hand-flown single-engine ILS. Let's get it. Look at that thrust. Like, just the spool up is 10 for 10 perfect. Man, flex, SRS nav, auto thrust blue. Here we go. Thrust set. Knots, check. A little bit of a tailwind, I think. V1. Rotate. Positive rate. Gear up. Nav. Engine 1 fire. Engine 1 fire. Autopilot 1. Thrust lever 1 idle. Confirm. Thrust lever 1 confirm. Idle. Engine 1 master off. Confirm. Engine 1 master. Confirm. Off. We're now going into single engine. Here is, we're climbing a 3,200 tower, Cactus 357, declaring an emergency. We've got an engine fire. We're going to need to return to Las Vegas. Managed, or pool heading, secondary, activate secondary, manage nav. We're going out to 3 miles from Las Vegas. Fight the fire. Engine 1 fire, push button, push. So let's do a flyby real quick. Obviously, we wouldn't do this in real life. That's a bad scenario, folks. That is a bad scenario right there. All right, engine 1 fire, push button, push. Confirm engine 1 fire, push button, confirm, push. Agent after 8 seconds and counting, discharge. Here comes 3 miles. Get ready for the right turn, heading 035. Here it is, start the turn, start the turn. 035 selected. Agent 1, discharge. Confirm Agent 1, confirm. Discharge. Clear the caution. We can see that the fire light is out, so theoretically our fire is out. And you can see that our fire is also out respective to the ECAM proper. We went through 3,200 feet because I was in flyby mode. Let's go ahead and vertical speed 0. Speed, vertical speed 0. We're coming around to 035 on the heading. Engine mode selector, ignition. If no fuel leak, and balance monitor. Let's go ahead and double check our fuel page. No fuel leak suspected. We're just obviously burning more fuel in that engine because it's the only one running. In TCAS mode select, TA only. Same reason as before, TA selected. In balance monitor, cross bleed, shut. Cross bleed, shut. All right. Clear engine 1. Clear engine 1. We are not really accelerating, are we? Let's go ahead and go Toga. Start the clock. All right, we've got some in-op systems to go over. Hydraulics. We have a land ASAP message. We also have a hydraulic. We have P2's powering the green. Okay, clear hydraulic. Electrical, one generator powering the system. Let's go ahead and start the APU. Starting the APU. And we're going out to 13 miles, right? So we're looking good, 3.9. There's stop ECAM, flap 0. Flap 0, speed checks, continue ECAM. All right, so we've got the APU spooling up for electrical. All right, here comes green dot, and it'd be like Tower Cactus 357. Continue with your EO SID. Climb and maintain 6,000. One able. All right, climb and maintain 6,000. 3 to 5 prior to green dot. Thrust climb, open climb. Flaps are up, so I'm going to go ahead and select MCT, see what we got. Thrust MCT, open climb, auto thrust. We're climbing out fine to 6,000. Bleed. Single bleed. Clear bleed, clear bleed. Status. Stop status. Now we do the after takeoff checklist. After takeoff checklist, we got our gear up, flaps are up, spoilers are disarmed. After takeoff checklist is complete. All right. At this point, the pilot flying is also going to be setting up for the approach back into Las Vegas. The pilot monitoring, which I'm playing all the roles right now, would also be doing the getting ready to go into the comm procedure and in the book. But now, this is something that's crucial to remember. Whenever you have a land ASAP message up here, that means land ASAP. So, if you don't have time to go to the comm and do the actual full procedure in the book, that's totally acceptable. You're under emergency authority. Let's get the airplane back on the ground, shall we? So, let's go ahead and stop status. I'm going to quickly set up for a return. ILS. I want to land on 26 right. It's the longest runway available. We're going to insert that. Secondary perf approach QNH is 3000. Temperature was like 33, and let's just go ahead and zero the winds. And the MDA for 26 right ILS is 2334. 2334. MDA. What? 040 2334 set. Okay. Cactus 357, turn right, fly heading 070. Continue climb to 6,000. 070 up to 6,000, Cactus 357. And you can expect the ILS 26 right. Copy that, Cactus 357. All right. Let's go ahead and get our LS push buttons on. LS push buttons on. I don't know why it's not showing up here. So we go flight, perf, activate, confirm. I don't know why I won't, it's doing something funky there. That's right. Climbing to 6,000, read status, wing anti-ice, in-op, Cat 3 dual, engine 1 bleed, pack 1, gen 1, green engine 1 pump. Clear status, clear status. All right, Cactus 357, turn right, heading 120, expect vectors ILS 26 right, expect the vectors ILS 26 right, Cactus 357. Well, let's take it off. What is it? Condi? Lane would be 079. Insert that. Pool heading. Selected. Cool. And Condi is at 3,800. Cactus 357, descend and maintain 5,000. Set and maintain 5,000. Continue right turn heading 140. 140 down to 5,000. Cactus 357. All right. Now I'm going to call the flight attendants. And we'll go ahead and make a PA to them, or not a PA, but we'll go ahead and talk to flight attendants. How's it going? It's your captain. You guys probably saw the flames off the left-hand side of the aircraft. We did have an engine out. We've suppressed the fire. We're single engine. We're going to come back and land in Las Vegas. I don't anticipate using the evacuation command, although it is possible. Just wait for my call when we get on the ground. You're going to see fire trucks out there as well following the aircraft. Do not be alarmed. I don't have any special instructions for you. I do not anticipate using the brace command, and we should be on the ground here in about 5 minutes. So prepare for an emergency landing. Okay, flight attendants notified, sent a message to dispatch, called up on company ops. Since you're here in Vegas, you probably can access them through the VHF. Talk to them. They're already cleared that we're coming back. We've declared an emergency. Air traffic control knows that. Everybody's been notified. Last thing you do, make a PA to the passengers. Folks on the flight deck. Just you may have noticed we had an engine fire there off the departure in Vegas. Just wanted to make sure you guys realize there's nothing to worry about now. The aircraft is secure. The fire has been out. We're making a precautionary return back into Las Vegas. You're going to see some fire trucks alongside the aircraft as well when we land. Do not be alarmed. This is just an abundance of caution. I do ask that you remain seated with your seatbelts fastened and follow any crew instructions from the cabin crew. Thank you for your patience and sorry for the inconvenience. All right, PA is done. Cactus 357, descend and maintain 4,000. Turn right, heading 260. Cleared ILS, runway 26 right approach. 260 on the heading. Now, I won't arm the approach because I think we're like bugged out here. I don't know what's up with this. So it won't let me load. Like, it's not actually saying this is an ILS. Oh, now it does. All right, let's do this real quick. 3000, 33, 040, and NDA was 2334, 2334. Cool. All right, now we got our barrows up there. Everything looks good. Let's go ahead and select flaps 1. Flaps 1, that's going to pop out the status page. Status. We can go ahead and clear status. We're aware. We've already briefed it and read it. I can see the airport off the distance. We're direct to Condi at 4,000. Speed out star. I will go ahead and select speed 180 knots here. Speed select 180.
2,500.
And VFE next. Minus 10. Flaps 2. You're going to hear the PTU going. And save me a bourbon, Mr. Martini, indeed. Indeed. So at this point, you would hear that PTU going off just like it is in the back right now. And it's as indicated by the ECAM. That is correctly modeled, correctly simulated. All right, Condi is at 3,800. We're cleared approach. So actually, I'm gonna go do this. Let's go ahead and go approach mode, AP2. 3,800. Glide slope blue, low blue, cat 3 single, autopilot 1 plus 2. And just like in the check route, I have to hand fly the single engine approach. This is where the flight model really shines. Really shines here. Single engine, and I can explain on the replay. All right, we are approaching our glide slope intercept. I don't want to configure too early here because, again, your single engine, definitely do not want to be config full gear down, but you don't want to get behind the airplane and be unstable. Glide slope star, let's go ahead and set go around altitude. Let's just say it's 6,000 feet in the event of a go around, and tower in the event of a go around. We just like vectors. Cactus 357, roger. All right, let's go ahead and go gear down. VFE next, minus 10, flaps 3. VFE next, minus 10, flaps full, landing checklist. Landing checklist, cabin crew advised, auto thrust, speed, auto brakes are off, ECAM memo, landing, all green, autopilot is off. I'm flying the airplane now. This is where that rudder comes into play here. So at idle thrust, the rudder's going to want to go, or you're going to need to use opposite rudder than you do when the airplane powers up. So you have to kind of dance with your feet here to keep the aircraft coordinated. So you see the powering up, so I need right rudder, right rudder, right rudder, right rudder, more right rudder, more right rudder. There we go. Now I can trim this, but the problem is I know it's going to come off here in just a second, and then it's going to go the other way. So my personal technique is I don't trim too much on final. I'd rather just have the feeling of what's happening. All right, so we're on speed. We're 500 stable.
500.
Clear to land. 2 whites, 2 reds on the slope.
400.
Now with all this rudder in there, we do have some rudder trim in there still. I don't reset the rudder trim in the flare, but I have to use opposite rudder as the power comes to idle.
200.
A little bit of right rudder here with a little bit of power. As I go to idle, I'm going to need a left rudder
100.
to counteract us going to idle.
50. 40. 30. 20. Retard. 10.
See there, it wants to yaw to the right, a little bit of left rudder. Just to give a nice and easy touchdown. We'll go to idle reverse. Get it back on the center line. Spoilers, reverse is green. Decel. 70 knots, we're going to use it to aircraft stop. Aircraft ground speed needs to 0. Parking brake set. Flight attendant stations. Boom. And there we are. Back at it. Single engine. And we're going to do a evac here to finish the stream. But before we do an evac, let's watch the replay. And then we'll do the evac live because the evac is going to mess everything up. So when I'm talking about that rudder, this is where this flight model just is so good. So when I'm adding thrust, or when the auto thrust is adding power, that airplane is going to want to yaw with the power, right? So since the engine number 2 is running and we have a dead engine on the left side, as we increase power, what's going to happen? It's going to want to yaw to the left. So I need to counteract that with right rudder. Now the same is true when the power comes off of the airplane single engine. What's going to happen? It's going to want to, you have all that rudder trim in there, and unless you reset or trimming the other direction, as the power comes off, it's going to want to yaw to the right. So now you need to counteract that with that left rudder pressure. This is crucial when you come into flare because you're all trimmed out. You've got an approach power on the airplane and you're coming into flare, so nose comes up, and then you go idle power. Well, at idle power, what happens? All that rudder trim that you have in there is going to kick over. This is where a technique comes into play. Some guys, some companies may say that you need to hit the rudder trim reset as you come over the numbers. Personally, I don't do this because I feel like you open the door for destabilizing your approach very close to the ground. I've watched a ton of guys do it completely successfully and not have an issue. This is just my personal technique. It's not a requirement for where I work. You can do either or. I don't hit the reset in the flare or across the numbers, which some airplanes do. That way you don't get that counteracted yaw, because this whole time, if you use my feet on the rudder pedals, right, I'm using my right leg, I'm in and out with my right foot. In the flare, it kind of can catch you off guard because you need a lot of left rudder to keep the airplane centered and not not side-loaded when you touch down, because all landings in the sim for recurrent are also going to be with a 15 to 20 knot direct crosswind. So you can imagine the whole sim, you've been using your right leg, and then you go to flare, whoop, you need to be ready to put that left rudder in there. And what's awesome about the Toliss is you can absolutely feel that in the flight model here. So again, Toliss ever watches this video, or anybody who does any of the modeling on the Toliss, I cannot give you guys enough credit. It is phenomenal, and it feels so good. It feels exactly like the Level D sims that we use to train in.
200.
So here we go. So I've got that right rudder in there, right? It's already trimmed. So we've got like, what, 15, right? So right about here,
50.
people will go ahead and reset, but I'm not.
20.
But see, look at the nose wants to come left. Nose wants to come left. That's because the power is coming back to idle. That you do not get in Microsoft. All right, let's see if we can watch it from the tail view so you can really see what's happening. We've got the rudder trim in there to the right, using right pedal. All right, power comes to idle. Look at the yaw. Look at that yaw. So now I got to step on that left pedal so we touch down nice and straight. Now I got a little sloppy there on touchdown. That's just me being sloppy. But that movement of the rudder and that yaw is so realistic. So realistic. I absolutely love it. All right, let's go ahead and watch one here just for semantics on the engine view because we have to. And then we're going to do an evac, and then I'm going to shut down, and I'm going to go home and pour myself a bourbon. I got some more studying to do, and we're going to be back tomorrow. So smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, and if you want to interact with me, go ahead and consider becoming a member because we got to do this tomorrow as well. It's a little bit different profile. We'll talk about it here in a minute. There's a touchdown. God, I love the IE engines. They are so good. IE engines are so good. Look at that. Carta's engines, 10 for 10. Amazing. XPlane is not a game. I 100% agree with you, Mr. Martini. I mean, you know, you can make it a game. You can make anything a game. And you can have fun with XPlane. But as far as a training tool, this is a 100% a training tool. All right. Before we go, we just landed. We touched down. We got hot brakes. That's normal. You can see I smoked the left brake more than the right brake because of all that asymmetrical thrust with that reverse thrust there. Again, that's kind of another reason why you would really consider idle reverse instead of full reverse because you're really going to be stepping on that left pedal and you can accidentally heat up the left side more than the right side. This is real life. This is an awesome modeling. All right, so snap back into our scenario. We just touched down. We had an engine fire. Boom. I said flight attendant stations. At this point, everybody is standing by. The cabin crew is standing by. We're either going to evac or we're going to taxi to the gate. Tower is going to call up, say Cactus 357, Fire Marshal is on channel 15 or on 21.3, whatever. Boom, boom, boom. Flip over. Fire Marshal, Cactus 357, we're rolling up to your aircraft. We're observing a hotspot off the right-hand side. Stand by. We're getting a closer look. So let's say we're sitting here. They're going to come up and look at us, and then we get another one here. It's Cactus 357. Your right engine has now caught fire. Your right engine is on fire. We're going to start putting it out for you right now. Copy that. So we're on fire. They're out there on a fire. Let's fight the fire before we evacuate. Fight the fire before we evacuate. Engine 2 fire. Engine 2 master off. Confirm engine 2. Confirm. Well, we're not. Oh, that's a mistake. We're on the ground. We don't have to do it. Engine 2 off. Engine fire push button 2. Engine fire push button 2. Push. Agent 1, 2 discharge. Agent 1 discharge. Agent 2 discharge. If evac, ATC 1 VHF notify. So this is important here. Tower, this Cactus 357, we're going to evacuate on the runway. We're going to evacuate on the runway. Fire Marshal, Cactus 357, yes, we're going to evacuate right here on the runway. Copy that, Cactus 357, you're cleared to evac. All right, so at this point, evacuate, evacuate, evacuate is the command I give. And then we come up here and we go ahead and turn on the evac push button. Master switch off. I'm not quite sure what that is for. Master switch off. Battery 1, 2 off. Engine 2 shutdown. All right, so we'll clear engine 2 fire. Shutdown avoided. Clear engine 2. Oh, you know what? We've got the APU master switch. That's what it is. Master switch off. Evacuate, evacuate, evacuate. And everybody would be popping slides. Now, in this scenario, you could advise evacuate left side only, evacuate left side only. Here's the problem when you say that, because now I am advising the flight attendants on how to successfully do their evac. They're trained on how to do an evacuation. They're trained to look for smoke, fire, or fumes before opening a door. So if I say only evacuate left-hand side, and God forbid something awful happens and there's loss of life because somebody couldn't get out and the airplane caught fire and it exploded or whatnot, now the FAA can come back on me and say, why'd you say evacuate left side? That's not your call. Like, all right, so now it's my ass that's in the hot seat, and rightfully so. So at that point, I stick to the say evacuate, evacuate, evacuate. The flight attendants are highly trained. They know what to do in this situation. theoretically, it should go like this. There's a fire here on this wing. They're probably not going to use this door. So they're going to go ahead and they might use the aft or they might use the forward. They might use both depending on their judgment. If they don't, they say, we're not going to evacuate left. We're just going to evacuate this side only. That's totally within their right. That's what they're trained to do. Hopefully, if you have a fire truck out there, you know it only stays on fire for a few seconds, and then they can just go ahead and come out any door they want. But you probably would want to skip this emergency exit either way, because you do have an engine fire here. But there you go. That is awfully loud. Thank you. Whew. Now, I believe because it will only last for like 3 seconds in the cockpit, and then the evac horn extinguishes in the cockpit only. So that, my friends, is Stream 1, Check Ride Prep Stream 1 of 2 in the books. So, I know this has been kind of a fire hose stream for y'all. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope maybe you learned something or got to see something a little bit cooler that maybe you've never seen before. Tomorrow, the agenda, I think tomorrow we're going to do an actual flight called what's called an LOE. So an LOE is a line-oriented evaluation flight. So basically my sim goes like this. I got one sim where I do a bunch of crazy stuff like this, do maneuvers, all this stuff. And then the second day, we do an LOE or a loft, however your training department calls it. And because they are slightly different. Basically, you're going to fly a flight from A to B. I think we're going to do, I'm going to actually look and see what available flights I could possibly do. You're going to have some type of extensive ECAM to work through, so we'll do that. It'll either end up in a diversion or a successful landing at the destination. And we'll also have our start faults that we got to work through and a couple other low visibility things that we're going to work through. So I think for that stream, we're going to be back in Microsoft in the Phoenix. So I hope to see you guys here tomorrow for that flight. And then I am off to the simulators for the remainder of the week. I'll try to keep my members updated there in the members-only Discord. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. To all the members that have tuned in on the chat, thank you so, so much. Again, shout out to Niviator for a membership at Dono. Thank you for all the super chats and the other donos that came throughout the stream. You guys are absolutely awesome. Until tomorrow, stay safe, stay healthy. I'm V1. See you.